All right, so the Samsung Galaxy Unpacked event was yesterday. We've got a ton of videos out there all about the upcoming S25 line. And in today's video, I figure I'd take a step back from all this stuff and talk about whether or not it's actually worth the upgrade, especially if you're coming from like the S24 Ultra and you're considering the S25 Ultra. So the first thing we'll be getting is an updated SoC. So we'll be looking at the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy. Now, this is also going to come with a 40% larger vapor chamber. And it's going to need it, and that's because this latest chipset is running really hot. There's definitely a concern with thermals on it, so thankfully Samsung did take care of us with that larger vapor chamber. We'll see how it plays out during longer gaming sessions though. The other new feature is that Samsung is taking away this. The ability to take pictures, control your music, and do all this cool Bluetooth stuff with your S Pen. So yeah, we're basically losing air actions. Now, how do I feel about this? I'm absolutely ticked off about it. And the reason I am is because here's the thing. These air actions have been one of the only differentiating factors, especially in recent years, between Samsung and Apple. It's like the one thing that helps make Samsung distinct from Apple. You know, you can't do the air action stuff on iPads and on your iPhones. You got to come over to Galaxy for that. But apparently, I guess Samsung just wants to be more like Apple because now we're losing this functionality, which really does tick me off. So they are taking that away for sure, and I have no idea why either. I don't know if that has something to do with like making a smaller digitizer layer so they can make the device thinner. I mean, I really can't see any rhyme or reason for taking away such cool functionality. And the thing is we know that they're going to add them back when the S26 comes out because we're doing the same thing with the Galaxy Watches. We don't have the rotating bezel here on the latest Galaxy Watch Ultra, but it's already all but confirmed that the rotating bezel is coming back next year with the upcoming Galaxy Watches. So they're taking a feature away and bringing it back and using it as a selling point when it comes back. That really ticks me off. It's really rubbing me the wrong way. Another thing that's new that I'm actually kind of excited for, that is good, that is an actual upgrade, is that the 12 megapixel ultra wide is getting swapped out for a 50 megapixel, and apparently this new 50 megapixel ultra wide is going to have some macro capabilities. So if you're into photography, perhaps the S25 Ultra might be worth the upgrade. The other thing that's changing that I'm sure all of you have seen by now is that the corners are now going to be rounded, and the side of the device is now going to be flat instead of having this rounded edge. I'm sort of indifferent about it. I mean, I'm fine either way. I don't consider one better than the other. I kind of like this boxy design because I'm a huge Note fan. The one plus about having the rounded corners is when you're holding your device, you're not going to have this digging into the meat of your palm so much. You know, I guess that is a plus if you want to look at it that way. But the one thing though is that any devices that have rounded corners, they always seem like they have a smaller display to me. I feel like you're always getting more display when you have a squared off look. The other thing we know for sure is that we're going to have a slight bump to the UFS storage speed. We'll take that. You kind of expect that year to year though. But outside of that, the S25 Ultra is basically the S24 Ultra. The same battery, same charging speeds, both wired and wirelessly. The screen is basically the same size, except the S25 Ultra is 0.1 of an inch larger. You're not even going to notice that. Basically, everything about it is the same, except one other differentiating factor, and that's going to be the software. So obviously, it's going to roll out with One UI 7, which Samsung spent like over an hour talking about during the Unpacked event, because that's all they really had to talk about was the software. But here's my thing. When it comes to an upgrade path, does that really matter? And the reason I'm asking that is because at the end of February into early March, all of these devices are getting One UI 7. And what's different this year is Samsung is looking to push to all the devices at once, and there's a reason for that. The big reason is because they want to start charging for the AI features, and they want to start charging for all of them. So in order for them to be able to start charging, they've got to get all those AI features into your hands. So all of these devices, the S24 line, S23 line, Z Fold 6, Z Fold 5, the Galaxy tablets included, they're all going to be getting One UI 7 very, very soon. End of February, beginning of March, it's going to roll out heavily, and everyone's going to be on the same OS version. So is it really worth you spending that $400 to $500? That's a difference between getting the S24 Ultra and the S25 Ultra here in the US. With the trade-in incentives and all of that, you're looking at $400 to $500 depending on the storage option you pick, including tax. And I know this because I just picked up the jet black version, the online exclusive, and that cost me roughly $500 after tax for the 512 gigabyte version in upgrading the S24 Ultra here. So is it really worth $400 to $500 for you to get something that you're going to have in 1 month's time anyway? Because really, honestly, when it comes to the devices themselves, the S24 Ultra is basically the S25 Ultra, just minus the rounded corners. And this release for the S25 Ultra coming out really reminds me a lot of the Z Fold 6. We really didn't get much with the Z Fold 6 except it's just a more polished, refined device. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Z Fold 6, it's a great device, but it's basically the Z Fold 5. It really is, I'm just keeping it real. So that's what's going to happen with the S25 Ultra. Look, I know it's going to sell great, this is their flagship product, everyone's going to be all over it, but from an upgrade standpoint, you know, minus the camera bump upgrade, that's going to be the biggest differentiating factor, really. Like, do you want that 50 megapixel ultra wide? You know, if that sounds promising to you, then maybe it is worth the upgrade. But otherwise, I don't know. You know, in these uncertain financial times, you know, change of leadership here in the US, potentially tariffs coming our way, might be a good idea to hold on to your money. Hey, look, I'm just a small channel. I'm just not trying to push products or anything. I think it's definitely a good year to skip the upgrade. If you're not into this stuff, if you're not big into tech, you might want to wait for the S26 line. It's going to be a great device. But anyways, if you have any questions or comments, please drop them down below. Really do appreciate your time. And as always, thanks for watching.